Next up, we got a welterweight matchup as we've got Ian Garry taking on Neil Magny. Of course, Neil Magny stepping up to replace Jeff Neal in this matchup. Send those healing vibes out to Jeff Neal. A lot of things going on with him. Ian Garry is approaching a 5-1 betting favorite. He's minus 490 as we do this show here. Neil Magny plus 370. And of course, over on DraftKings on the DFS side, Ian Garry 9,600, Neil Magny 6,600. And I feel like every time we talk about Ian Garry fight, I think we're both kind of on the same page of like, there's going to come a point where we want to fade this guy. And, you know, the one thing that I can't get out of my mind with Ian Garry is when Song Kenan dropped him. Now, he ended up, you know, finishing that fight in the third round. But it's one of these fights where, you know, look, Neil Magny's a gatekeeper. I think we both know that. But to me, if Neil Magny is going to win this fight, to me, it's about him making this an ugly fight where he puts Ian Garry's back up against the fence and potentially takes him down.
Yeah, I mean, Magny has to be successful with his takedowns to win this fight. I mean, he's been a volume striker, and then he started to lean on his wrestling, something that was a flaw in his game. And his length gives people problems, and then when he can mix in takedowns, he can win rounds. I just think it's going to be very difficult to do so against a very exciting prospect in Ian Garry. I was going to be picking Jeff Neal against Ian Garry. I will tell you, I think that there is a particular matchup for Ian Garry that's going to be very difficult. It's against a powerful striker who's willing to engage on the feet, and somebody that we can get behind. And I think that, you know, Jeff Neal is the guy. I mean, look what he did to Vicente Luque. Look what he's done to multiple people within the division. I think that Ian Garry does make mistakes in his striking. I don't predict that Neil Magny is going to be the guy to figure him out. You know, appreciative that Magny's stepping in to fill in for Jeff Neal. But I do think that, you know, the 9,000 price tag makes sense. 9,600 is a little aggressive. Magny's a tough guy to put away in a sense from a KO, TKO standpoint. But I do think that Ian Garry is going to find a finish one way or another over Neil Magny. Why pay 9,600 for Ian Garry if I really believe that Weili Zhang can do it when she's priced at 9,200? So I'll be mixing and matching, putting Ian Garry in there at 9,600. He's going to be my play for this fight. Neil Magny, outside of just an absolute punt play and who could possibly score enough in a loss, I just don't like his previous fight against Philip Rowe. I didn't think that they both looked good in the fight. He went 0 of 3 in the takedown department, scored only 65. And now you're going up against Ian Garry, who I think is much more well-rounded than Phil Rowe and much more dangerous. So the plays Ian Garry. I don't like Neil Magny in this matchup.
You know, when you look at when Neil Magny has gone up against the elite of this division, you know, he has not been able to get a victory. And to me, if Ian Garry wants to show that he is an elite member of this division, it's about going out there and finishing Neil Magny. Since you're looking at going back to 2017, RDA lost for Neil Magny. He was submitted in that one. Santiago Ponzinibbio in 2018, he was knocked out in that one. Michael Chiesa was a decision loss. Shavkat Rakhmonov, submission loss. Gilbert Burns, submission loss. You know, I don't necessarily see a submission coming here for Ian Garry. If he does, then I think that would be very much a surprise. But like, to me, I think this is Ian Garry's fight to lose in this one.